From Deathworld to Diplomacy, How Humans Became the Galaxy's Wildcard Allies. Part 1, Arrival of the Deathworlders. The Galactic Forum had convened in the glittering chambers of Velarith Prime, a neutral world chosen for its serene atmosphere and near-zero conflict history. Species from across the galaxy filled the chamber, their diverse forms reflected in crystalline walls that refracted light into shimmering rainbows. Today's agenda was unique: humanity's entry into galactic politics. The Eldranian envoy, a tall, insectoid diplomat with translucent wings, buzzed with unease. "We are playing with fire by allowing them here," she whispered to her counterpart from the Peldari Federation, a race resembling floating spheres of bioluminescent gas. "Have you seen the reports? They are from a Deathworld." Deathworlds were the galaxy's most inhospitable planets, teeming with hostile ecosystems, unstable climates, and deadly predators. Species that evolved on such planets were usually violent, short-lived, or incapable of peaceful coexistence. Humanity, the latest spacefaring species, hailed from one such world, Earth. As the humans entered the chamber, all eyes, or their alien equivalents, turned to them. There were 5 representatives, each bearing the insignia of Earth's United Terran Alliance. They walked upright, their unarmored skin exposed to the room's harsh artificial lighting, their expressions unreadable to most. Ambassador Rachel Locke led the group, her steps confident but measured. She had been briefed on the reputation humanity carried: unpredictable, aggressive, and dangerous. Yet she knew this was their chance to reshape that image. The silence was palpable as she reached the podium. "Honored members of the Galactic Forum," Locke began, her voice carrying an unexpected warmth and determination. "We come not as conquerors or disruptors, but as explorers and learners. Humanity seeks friendship and cooperation." A low hum of skepticism rippled through the chamber. The Krull Dominion representative, a hulking creature with 4 arms and scales like obsidian, stood. "Cooperation? From Deathworlders?" It sneered, baring razor-sharp teeth. "Your history is one of endless conflict and destruction. Why should we trust you?" Locke's gaze didn't waver. "Because survival on Earth demanded resilience, creativity, and adaptability. We faced extinction countless times and emerged stronger. These qualities aren't just our burden, they're our gift. We can adapt to anything, even the complexities of galactic diplomacy." The Eldranian envoy spoke next, her voice clicking with calculated precision. "And yet, adaptability can make you as dangerous as you are resourceful. What assurances can you offer that humanity will not destabilize our carefully balanced alliances?" Locke hesitated, carefully choosing her words. "Assurances? None. What I can offer is evidence. Humanity has a unique ability to unite in the face of greater challenges. Our history is one of finding solutions where none seem possible. Let us prove that to you." Just as Locke's words began to sway a few skeptical minds, a shrill alarm echoed through the chamber. The forum's security field activated, bathing the hall in a red glow. "Emergency breach detected," an automated voice announced. Panic spread as the delegates scrambled. On the chamber's main display, a fleet of unidentified ships appeared, their weapons charged and aimed directly at Velarith Prime. The attacking vessels bore no known insignia, their sleek forms designed for one purpose: destruction. Locke exchanged a glance with her team, her mind racing. This was humanity's first encounter with the Galactic Forum, and now it might be their last. "Ambassador," one of her team members whispered urgently, "our ship's AI detected the fleet before the alarms. It's found a vulnerability in their targeting systems." Locke's heart pounded. They had no authority to act, yet doing nothing would ensure disaster. "Send the data to Forum Security," she instructed. "And prepare to defend the chamber if it comes to that." The human envoy's quick actions didn't go unnoticed. As alien delegates watched in astonishment, the humans coordinated with Forum Security to deploy countermeasures. Within minutes, the threat was neutralized, the attacking ships retreating into hyperspace. As the chamber's lights returned to normal, a stunned silence fell. The Eldranian envoy was the first to speak. "Perhaps there is more to these Deathworlders than we imagined." Locke stepped forward once more, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. "We don't seek to be the galaxy's problem. But if needed, we can certainly be its solution." The Krull representative regarded her with newfound respect. "Then perhaps humanity does have a place here, though I suspect you will be more than just allies. You might become the galaxy's wildcard." The wildcard's gamble. The Galactic Forum reconvened the next day, its delegates now abuzz with murmurs of the humans' swift actions. For species accustomed to deliberating every decision through endless debate, the humans' decisive approach was both unsettling and oddly admirable. Ambassador Locke had barely slept. The attack was no coincidence. Someone or something wanted humanity's entry into the galactic community sabotaged. Now, she not only had to convince the Forum of humanity's value but also uncover the source of the threat. The session began with the towering Arbiter Threxus, a sentient crystalline being, addressing the assembly. His voice reverberated with a melodic hum. "In light of yesterday's events, the Forum owes gratitude to the human delegation. Without their intervention, we might not be gathered here today." Locke inclined her head in acknowledgement but remained silent, knowing the real challenge was yet to come. The Krull Dominion representative rose again, his skepticism tempered by grudging respect. "Your actions were impressive, Ambassador Locke, but we must question your motives. Did you act out of altruism or was it a calculated move to secure favor with the Forum?" Locke stepped forward, her face calm but her voice firm. "If we sought favor, we would have let the attack play out and swooped in afterward to clean up the mess. Instead, we acted to preserve lives. That's what humanity does. We protect, we adapt, and we survive. Not just for ourselves but for those around us." The murmurs grew louder, a mix of intrigue and debate, but before anyone could respond, a hologram shimmered to life in the center of the chamber. It displayed one of the retreating ships from the previous day, magnified to show intricate details. "This is the fleet that attacked us," Arbiter Threxus announced. "Our analysts have identified the technology, fragments of Krull design, Eldranian encryption protocols, and Peldari energy cores. A disturbing combination." Gasps rippled through the room as accusations flew. Each implicated species bristled at the suggestion they might be involved in the sabotage. Locke watched carefully, noting the way certain delegates avoided eye contact. A thought began to form in her mind. She leaned toward her security advisor, who was monitoring the Forum's encrypted transmissions. "Can we trace their communications? Someone here is hiding something." Her advisor nodded, fingers flying over a portable terminal. Within moments, a single name emerged: Vyrek, a lesser-known trade lord infamous for arms dealing and mercenary contracts. He had no seat in the Forum but plenty of influence in the shadows. Locke made a quick decision. She activated her communicator, linking it to the chamber's central hologram. "If I may, honored delegates," she said, her voice cutting through the commotion, "I believe we can identify the true threat." The hologram shifted, displaying Vyrek's image alongside intercepted transmissions outlining his plans to disrupt the Forum. His goal was clear: sow chaos, pit species against one another, and profit from the resulting wars. A heavy silence fell over the room. No one wanted to admit how easily they had been manipulated. Locke seized the moment. Humanity understands survival in a hostile environment. We've faced challenges like Vyrek before, those who exploit fear for personal gain. Let us help you root out this threat and ensure the Forum remains strong. The Krull representative growled low, his claws tapping against the desk. "You presume much, Deathworlder, but your actions speak louder than your words." He turned to the assembly. "I propose we grant humanity provisional membership in the Forum. They've proven they can act swiftly and decisively, traits we may need in times of crisis." The motion sparked heated debate, but the tide had turned. Humanity's actions had earned them more than grudging respect, they had earned trust, however tentative. As the vote was cast, Locke's heart pounded. The results appeared in shimmering glyphs above the chamber. Humanity's membership was approved, albeit with conditions for continued oversight. The moment was bittersweet. Humanity had taken its first step into the galaxy, but it was a step fraught with uncertainty. After the session adjourned, Locke stood alone on the observation deck of their diplomatic ship, gazing out at the stars. Her security advisor approached. "We've tracked Virex operations to a nearby system. What's the plan?" Locke smiled faintly. "The plan? We show the galaxy what humans are truly capable of. We'll bring Virek to justice and prove that humanity is more than just survivors. We're builders of alliances, protectors of peace, and the galaxy's wildcard." As the ship prepared to jump into hyperspace, Locke felt a mix of pride and trepidation. Humanity's journey had just begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. To be continued. Hunting Shadows, the Terran diplomatic vessel, Unity's flame, hurtled through hyperspace toward the Neros Nebula, the suspected hideout of Virek. The sleek ship, a testament to human ingenuity, was designed not only for diplomacy but also for unexpected emergencies, a nod to humanity's hard-earned reputation for preparation. Inside the command room, Ambassador Rachel Locke studied the nebula's holographic map. Virex base was buried deep within a tangled region of volatile gases and asteroid fields. Navigating it would be dangerous, but not impossible. "Status report?" Locke asked. Commander Elias Brandt, her second in command, leaned over the control console. "We've confirmed the presence of Virex fleet." He's fortified his position, but their defense grid has gaps we can exploit. "The problem is the nebula, it's riddled with ionic storms. We'll be blind in certain sectors." Locke nodded, her mind already calculating the risks. "We can't turn back. If we leave Virek unchecked, his chaos will ripple through the galaxy. Prepare the team." The approach. As the ship entered the nebula, the once vast starscape dissolved into a swirling haze of greens and purples, punctuated by sudden flashes of electrical discharges. Every crew member tensed, their eyes fixed on displays that flickered with interference. "Brace for turbulence," the pilot announced as the ship shuddered violently. Locke gripped the armrest of her chair. "Elias, what's the enemy fleet composition?" Brandt's voice was steady. "Mostly mid-range frigates, with a command cruiser at the center. Their defenses are designed to hold off large-scale assaults, not precision strikes. If we can disable their power systems, we can force Virek into a surrender." Locke considered the plan. "Good, but if there's one thing I've learned, it's that cornered enemies rarely surrender without a fight. Let's be ready for surprises." Suddenly, alarms blared. "Hostiles inbound," shouted the tactical officer. "3 frigates closing in fast." Locke stood, her voice cutting through the tension. "Shields up, evasive maneuvers. Let them come to us." The frigates darted into view, their sleek forms trailing streams of nebular plasma. They opened fire, emerald beams lashing toward the Unity's flame. The ship's shields flared brightly, absorbing the impact as the crew retaliated with precision railgun fire. The first frigate exploded in a flash of light, while the other 2 broke formation, attempting to flank. "Commander Brandt, launch the decoys," Locke ordered. Brandt nodded, activating a sequence that released a swarm of holographic projections. The enemy ships fired blindly at the decoys, giving the Unity's flame enough time to slip past them and closer to Virex base. The base loomed ahead, an ominous structure carved into a massive asteroid. Pulsing energy fields surrounded it, while smaller defense drones patrolled the perimeter. Locke turned to her team. "Elias, take the ship into low orbit. We'll deploy a ground team to infiltrate the base. Virek needs to be captured alive. His data will expose his network." The shuttle bay roared to life as Locke and her squad boarded a dropcraft. The craft descended rapidly through the nebula's dense gases, dodging sporadic fire from the base's defenses. As they landed on the asteroid's jagged surface, Locke's boots crunched against the rocky terrain. The team moved swiftly toward an access tunnel, their movements silent and calculated. Inside, The base was a labyrinth of corridors illuminated by flickering red lights. The air smelled of ozone and metal, the hum of machinery filling the silence. Locke led the way, her sidearm drawn. Brant, beside her, carried a tactical scanner. Multiple hostiles ahead, he whispered. They encountered resistance quickly, Virex guards, a mix of alien mercenaries armed with plasma rifles. The firefight was brief but intense. Humanity's ground tactics, honed from centuries of conflict on Earth, gave Locke's team the edge. Clear, Brant said, lowering his weapon. Locke moved to a console, plugging in a data spike. This will give us access to Virex internal systems. The console flickered to life, revealing schematics of the base and Virex escape route. He's trying to flee, Locke muttered. We need to move now. The confrontation. The team sprinted through the corridors, the sound of their boots echoing. They reached a hangar where Virex's personal ship was preparing for takeoff. The Trade Lord stood at the base of the ramp, flanked by armored guards. Locke stepped forward, her voice steady but commanding. Virex, it's over. Surrender now. Virex turned, his reptilian features twisting into a sneer. Humans, always so confident. Do you really think you've won? He raised a remote, pressing a button. Explosions rippled through the base as charges planted along the structure detonated. The asteroid shook violently, debris raining down. Locke didn't flinch. Elias, take the shot. Brant fired a precise blast from his rifle, hitting the remote and shattering it in Virex's hand. The Trade Lord roared in pain as Locke's team surged forward, subduing his guards and capturing him. Secure him, Locke ordered, her voice unwavering. As they dragged Virex toward the shuttle, he spat. You think capturing me changes anything? The galaxy is chaos, and you can't stop it. Locke leaned in, her eyes cold. Maybe, but humanity knows how to thrive in chaos, and we'll make sure you never profit from it again. A Wildcard's victory. Back on Velarith Prime, Virex's capture sent shockwaves through the Galactic Forum. The evidence he carried unraveled vast networks of corruption and sabotage, forcing many species to confront uncomfortable truths about their own vulnerabilities. Humanity's actions had cemented their reputation not just as survivors, but as problem solvers and protectors. In the forum chambers, the Crawl representative approached Locke. You have a saying on your world, don't you? It's better to be lucky than good. Locke smiled faintly. We prefer to be both. The galaxy had gained a new ally and a wildcard that could turn the tide in ways no one expected. New alliances, new threats. The fallout from Virex's capture rippled across the galaxy. His extensive data caches revealed far more than expected: connections to rogue fleets, corrupt forum officials, and even whispers of an ancient, forgotten enemy lurking on the galactic fringes. Humanity, the new player in this vast arena, found itself in the spotlight. Ambassador Rachel Locke stood in the Galactic Forum's chamber, addressing the gathered delegates. This time, the atmosphere was different. The skepticism and hostility from her first speech had softened, replaced by a mixture of respect and wary curiosity. We acted because we believe the galaxy thrives when its people are united, Locke said, her voice steady. Virex's plans could have torn us apart, but now we have an opportunity to stand together and build something stronger. The Crawl representative, his obsidian scales glinting under the chamber's light, stood. You have proven yourselves capable, Ambassador, but capabilities do not erase suspicion. Humanity's rapid rise in unconventional methods have made many of us uneasy. Locke nodded, acknowledging the sentiment. Suspicion is natural, Representative Grax. Trust isn't built in a day, but if you allow us, humanity will continue to earn it, starting with the information we've uncovered. A hologram shimmered into view above the chamber, a detailed star map with a single sector highlighted in red. This region, Locke explained, is on the edge of known space. Virex Communications referenced it repeatedly as the source of his most valuable contracts. He called it the Voidborn Expanse. The Eldranian envoy, her crystalline wings twitching nervously, clicked in response. That sector is barren, abandoned long ago. The records say it is cursed. Locke leaned forward. It's not abandoned anymore. The data suggests a growing presence of unknown forces. Something or someone is using the expanse as a staging ground. We propose a joint task force to investigate. The chamber erupted in debate. Some delegates supported the idea, recognizing the potential threat. Others hesitated, wary of venturing into what was effectively a galactic ghost story. Into the void. 2 weeks later, the task force assembled in orbit around Velarith Prime. Ships from various species gathered, a hodgepodge fleet of designs, colors, and technologies. Humanity's Unity's flame was there, its sleek lines standing out against the more organic shapes of Eldranian craft and the bulky frames of Krall battleships. Locke and Commander Brandt stood on the bridge of their ship, watching the fleet form. "This is either the start of something great," Brandt muttered, "or the beginning of a very bad idea." Locke smiled faintly. "Probably both. But we've never backed down from a challenge, have we?" The fleet jumped into hyperspace, their destination the void-born expanse. As the swirling colors of hyperspace faded into the dark void, the sector came into view, a desolate region of dead stars, broken planets, and drifting debris. "This place gives me the creeps," one junior officer muttered. Locke couldn't blame him. The expanse felt wrong, as if the space itself held memories of something terrible. "Commander," the tactical officer reported, picking up faint energy readings ahead. "They're unusual, not like any known species." Brandt frowned. "Bring us closer, but keep shields up. Let's not take chances." As the fleet moved deeper, the energy readings grew stronger. A massive structure emerged from the shadows, a fortress of alien design, its blackened metal glowing faintly with an eerie green light. "By the stars," whispered an Eldranian captain over the comms, "that's not a ship, it's a war machine." The fortress suddenly came to life. Massive cannons extended from its surface, firing beams of energy that sliced through the void. Smaller craft swarmed out like angry hornets, their designs sleek and angular, unlike anything in the forum's database. The fleet scrambled to respond. Human and Krall ships took the lead, their heavy weapons firing volleys that shattered some of the enemy craft. Eldranian ships used their superior agility to outmaneuver the attackers, providing cover for the bulkier vessels. On the bridge of the Unity's flame, Locke watched the chaos unfold. "Tactical, analyze their patterns, find us an opening." "They're coordinated, but their movements suggest AI control," the tactical officer replied. "If we can disrupt their command signals, it might give us an edge." Locke turned to Brandt. "Send the data to the fleet. Focus fire on what looks like a central relay." The fleet's combined firepower turned toward a spire jutting from the fortress. Under the concentrated assault, the spire exploded in a cascade of light, and the attacking craft faltered. But the relief was short-lived. A deep, resonating hum filled the void, and the fortress began to shift. Panels opened across its surface, revealing hundreds of smaller weapons. "What the hell is that?" Brandt muttered. Before Locke could respond, a massive energy wave rippled out from the fortress, disabling shields and systems across the fleet. The Unity's flame went dark, its crew scrambling as emergency power kicked in. "Report," Locke demanded. "EMP pulse," the engineer replied. "We're running on backup, but main systems are down." The comm crackled to life. "This is Captain Krell of the Krall ship Vornak. We are taking heavy damage. What is your plan, human?" Locke took a deep breath, her mind racing. They couldn't win this fight conventionally, but humanity had never relied solely on brute strength. "Elias, what's the status of the fortress's core?" she asked. Brandt checked the scans. "It's heavily shielded, but that last EMP pulse came from there. If we can overload it." Locke nodded. "We'll need to deliver a high-yield explosive directly to the core. Prepare a strike team." The gamble, with the fleet holding off the remaining attackers. Locke and a small team boarded a shuttle and sped toward the fortress. Navigating its defenses was a harrowing experience, but the shuttle reached a docking port damaged during the battle. Inside, the fortress was a maze of alien technology, its walls pulsing with energy. The team moved quickly, planting charges and avoiding patrolling drones. As they reached the core chamber, Locke felt a chill. The machinery inside was ancient, its design both beautiful and terrifying. "We're not alone," Brant whispered, pointing to a figure emerging from the shadows, a humanoid being clad in dark armor, its movements unnervingly fluid. The figure spoke, its voice resonating in their minds. "You are bold to come here, Deathworlders, but your defiance is meaningless. The architects will return, and this galaxy will kneel." Locke raised her weapon. "Not today." The team opened fire as the figure advanced, its energy weapons carving through their ranks. With seconds to spare, Brant activated the charges. "Fall back," Locke shouted. They barely made it to the shuttle as the fortress erupted in a blinding explosion. The aftermath. The fleet limped back to Velarith Prime, battered but victorious. The void-born expanse was quiet once more, but questions lingered. Who were the architects? Were they truly gone or just waiting? As the forum debated the implications, one thing was clear: humanity had proven its worth yet again, but in doing so, they had awakened something ancient and dangerous. Locke stood on the observation deck of the Unity's flame, staring into the stars. The galaxy had changed, and humanity was now at the center of it. "We've made our mark," she said softly. "Now we just have to survive what comes next." Echoes of the architects. The revelation of the architects, a powerful, ancient race that had once dominated the galaxy, sent shockwaves through the galactic forum. Historical records unearthed by scholars spoke of a civilization that vanished millennia ago after waging wars that reshaped entire star systems. The fortress in the void-born expanse was proof they had left behind more than just myths. For humanity, the stakes had risen. The architect's warning echoed in Ambassador Locke's mind. The architects will return, and this galaxy will kneel. New frontiers. Months passed as humanity worked tirelessly with its new allies. Joint fleets patrolled the borders of known space, scanning for any trace of the architects. Meanwhile, humanity's unconventional methods and Deathworld resilience began winning over even the most skeptical species. The Krull Dominion, initially distrustful, became unexpected partners. Krull warriors respected strength, and humanity's survival instincts fascinated them. Eldranian scientists marveled at human ingenuity, especially their ability to innovate under pressure. In the Galactic Forum, humanity's reputation shifted from wildcard to vital player. They were no longer seen as mere survivors of a Deathworld but as problem solvers who could handle crises others feared to face. The architects awaken. The galaxy's fragile calm shattered when reports poured in from the fringes of space. Entire colonies vanished without a trace. Fleets sent to investigate were found adrift, their crews gone and their ships eerily intact. Locke, now a seasoned diplomat and leader, convened a meeting of the forum's High Council. Holograms of representatives from every major species filled the chamber. "We can no longer deny it," Locke began. "The architects are returning. They've tested our defenses, and they've found us divided and vulnerable. We must unite now or risk extinction." Her words hung in the air, heavy with urgency. The Krull representative, Grax, grunted. "And what would you propose, Ambassador? That we hand over control to the Deathworlders?" Locke met his gaze evenly. "Not control, leadership. Humanity has faced extinction before. We know what it takes to survive and to fight back." The debate raged, but eventually, the Council voted to form the first Galactic Coalition fleet, led by a human commander, Elias Brandt. Humanity's boldness had won the galaxy's trust, but the cost of failure would be catastrophic. The final stand. The architects struck swiftly and with precision. Their ships, vast and biomechanical, dwarfed anything in the Coalition's arsenal. They moved like predators, their weapons tearing through fleets with terrifying efficiency. The Coalition's only hope lay in intelligence recovered from the void-born expanse. The data suggested the architect's command structure relied on a central hub, a massive station hidden in a starless void known as the Abyssal Rift. Locke and Brandt led the mission. The Coalition fleet, now bolstered by humanity's ingenuity and the Krull's brute strength, set course for the rift. The journey was fraught with danger. as the architects' patrols harried them at every turn. Finally, they arrived. The rift was a place of utter darkness, its void so complete it seemed to swallow light itself. In the center loomed the architect's command station, a colossal structure that pulsed with eerie green energy. Brant addressed the fleet. "This is it. If we take out that station, we cut off their network. If we fail, there won't be a galaxy left to save." The battle for the galaxy. The architects unleashed their full might. Swarms of biomechanical ships poured from the station, their weapons ripping through coalition lines. The battle was chaos, every ship fighting desperately to hold the line. On board the Unity's Flame, Locke coordinated the fleet's efforts. Eldranian cruisers, focus on their flank. Crawl battleships, target the main defenses. We need a clear path to the station. Meanwhile, Brant led a strike team into the station itself, navigating its labyrinthine corridors. They planted charges at critical points while fighting off relentless architect drones. As the battle raged outside, Locke received a transmission from Brant. "Charges are set, but we're pinned down. Get out of here, Rachel." Locke's heart clenched. "You'll make it back. I'll hold this fleet together until you do." Brant's team fought their way to an escape shuttle as the charges detonated. Explosions rippled through the station, its green glow dimming as its systems collapsed. The architects' ships faltered, their coordination breaking down. The coalition fleet seized the opportunity, pressing the attack. One by one, the biomechanical vessels fell, until the rift was silent. A new dawn. The victory came at a heavy cost. The coalition fleet was battered, and many lives were lost, but the architects' threat had been neutralized, their plans to reclaim the galaxy thwarted, for now. In the aftermath, the Galactic Forum convened to honor the heroes of the battle. Locke stood before the assembly, her voice carrying the weight of humanity's journey. "We were once seen as outliers, a species born of chaos and hardship. Today, we stand united as allies, as friends, and as protectors of this galaxy. Humanity will always be the wildcard, but perhaps that's exactly what this galaxy needs." The chamber erupted in applause, a celebration not just of victory, but of the unity forged through shared struggle. As Locke gazed out at the gathered species, she felt a deep sense of pride. Humanity had found its place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as guardians of a fragile peace. Epilogue. Far beyond the edges of known space, in the cold silence of the void, another architect's station stirred, its lights flickered to life, and a single message pulsed through its systems. Phase 1, complete. Adaptation protocols engaged. Humanity's role as the galaxy's wildcard was far from over, but they were ready. Whatever came next, they would face it together.